You were asking before about this fur once it's washed, about smoothing it back out. And we can hit it with the brush. We can hit it with the brush and brush it back out. But the other thing we can do, if you really want to straighten fur out, if you have fur with a lot of nap, is you can take a hairdryer and you can run a hairdryer. Oh, I got to switch this cord out. Unplug the Flowbee. This is going to be a little loud too. I'm going to run the hairdryer, but you heat the fur up. And you want to go on the hot setting. You don't want to go on the cool setting. It's not going to do anything. But you get it on the hot setting. The hairdryer won't get hot enough to burn the fur. That's why I don't use a heat gun for just straightening. You want to use a hairdryer. Get it on high, get it nice and hot. And you heat it up as you're brushing it. And this you kind of have to work a little patch at a time. You can't, because it's got to stay warm as you're brushing it out. But then you get this really nice smooth fullness back out of the fur. And it's really nice and soft and light and fluffy. And you can do this with the Design Mastered fur as well, but just remember when you're brushing it, it will lift some of it out. You'll be pulling some of it. And even here, you can see it took a little bit out, but the other paints, if you do this, the paints will pull the fur out. So I don't recommend applying heat to something you've painted with the shoe paint or the Krylon. I haven't tried it with the taxidermy fur though. The taxidermy paint, that would be worth a test. But anyway, this gives you a really nice full fur. Now, what's nice too is this white was very flat when we first got it, and then when we washed it, it got this nappy texture. But after we brushed it out, it's smooth again, but it's still really fluffy. That wasn't like that originally. It was that smooth, silky fur. Now it's like those white dogs. What are the little white, really fluffy white dogs?
Like a Maltese?
Yeah, like, is it Maltese? The white, really, but anyway, this is what the fur feels like. It's that real thick, downy feel.
Yeah, I think it's a Maltese.
And it's a great feel. Now, the other thing we can do is if you are interested in, I hate to say this, to use this word, but if you want to damage the fur, if you want to get back to that model look, you can use a heat gun. Be very careful, please, because these will start fires. They get super hot, but you can melt fur. You can melt this fiber. And what a lot of people will do is they'll sit there and they'll work with it with a comb or brush. You can actually take a heat gun and you can change the direction of the nap. So if you have a part and you want to split it and you don't want to do two pieces of fur, you can heat it up enough and you can brush, heat and brush and heat and brush and heat and brush, and you can create a part and split the direction of the fur. It takes some patience, and again, it's a lot of work because you really have to get it hot to do it. But anyway, if we want to get back to this nappiness we had before, though, we heat this up. And don't stick your hand directly under the heat. But what this is going to give is more like that sheep's wool that we had, that one piece I showed you that was kind of crumbly. Because what it's actually doing is melting the fiber. And you got to keep it moving. You can't hold it in one place. If you hold it in one place, here, I'll show you what happens if you hold it in one place. That happens. And it happens that quickly. It melted and burned. So be very careful. Just keep, if you're going to use heat on it, you have to keep it moving. And you can watch it shrivel up. But if you're making a sheep or you're making something where you want some cool texture on it, a heat gun's an option. You see what it did. Now it's got that really kind of shortened wool texture. Boy, that burned fur smells terrible. Anyway, but that's what we did on this piece. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, this piece. This piece was hit with a heat gun. So you can see what the texture did, how it basically burns the top layer and shrivels it up. But it's a great texture. It's such a great on-camera texture. It looks really cool. If you were making some kind of bizarre animal character or whatever. And again, if you want, you can get in here and you can actually brush some of this back out. It's never going to be as long because we've actually burned and shrunk the nap, you know, but you've got these other textures now that you can brush back out. So, and in combination with that, we can go back to, say we want to create a different, you know, even more of a different look. Then we get in here and we start trimming. We get our Flowbee out. No, am my overhead okay? Yeah, there we go. Man, I still smell that burned fur. It's like wet dog. How are we doing for time? We good?
We're good.
Awesome, I love that.
We just finished our heat gun section, so 30 hour.
So see now we've got a combination. We've got the burn fur, we've got the brushed out downy fur, and we've got these beautiful sections in here that are trimmed out. And we could do faces, we could trim around faces, and this is, again, this is such a cool fur because of the pattern of it, you know. But so anyway, there's a lot we can do with fur. There's a lot of different options. You know, I should be wearing a dust mask because I'm breathing all this in now. My nose is itching. Thanks, Matt. So, anyway.
That was your decision to wear
Yeah.
a dust mask.
I never thought about it before.
I just want to point that out.
Thanks. But anyway, and then again, with the scissors and everything else, the thing I can't stress enough is test. Test whatever fur you're using. Just take a small piece of it and see what happens. Like this, you know, if you trim, what happens if you trim too short? You know, does it go all the way through it, and what does it look like? Does the backing look usable, or this one? I mean, look, that's all the way to the backing. And that's actually a really nice pattern in there. Some really nice texture.